when I really got my first taste of what it's like to be uncomfortable in the off season. And that's probably the
Pretty
best.
bad.
It's probably the best word to put it is you have to eat to the point of discomfort and
Yeah.
then continue eating.
Yeah.
Think about the excitement and something about the elevation just makes your trainings makes your
Raises the
split that much
natural
better.
testosterone a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's an idea.
I like it. That is
I
just
like
like
it.
the aggression comes out. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like almost like a little bit of a natural trend. You're just a little bit angry. You just want
Na-
Just a little bit angry.
naturally sourced,
right?
naturally sourced trends.
It's like just a little angry. You just want to get in and get it done. Okay, so welcome to Bodybuilders Amateur Hour, and we are back with season 2. We've been on a little bit of a break. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's just we need to take a break, and that's okay. And it's a little bit of the down season in bodybuilding, and we're just actually starting to ramp up now, and people are starting to prep, and we're really excited. So we're really going to get back into it, and put out the information to a lot of the newcomers that are coming this year in 2024. It's our first special guest we have on with us is Big Jordan. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. How are you?
Hey, pretty good. We're really super excited to have you. We wanted to get you on for quite a while, but things just kept, we kept missing times, and you're busy, we're busy, and but you're here now, and welcome to Bodybuilders Amateur Hour, and first episode of season 2. Fantastic. So we have Jordan, Jamie, and Andy. Welcome, guys. Good to see you. It's been forever.
It has
Yeah.
been. Good to see you, Jordan. Nice to have you on. Hey, Briggs.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
I'm going to throw this in the beginning and at the end of the podcast because I always forget to do this. So before we go, remember to like, subscribe, share, and
Hit the bell button.
hit that bell button. All right. And leave a comment too. I don't know what the hell Andy's doing, but you can leave the comment too. Because the more likes and comments we get, the better the algorithm is going to be. So we want to get this out there to as many people as possible and show the East Coast bodybuilders some love.
What's up, guys? Jordan, I don't know if I've met you before.
I don't think I have.
Think so.
Yeah.
You in Halifax?
I'm in Halifax, yeah.
Okay. No.
All right.
I never met you either, Jordan, I don't think.
Okay. Cool. Well, this
No,
is awesome.
not directly.
Yeah.
No.
So, best place to start out. I could give you a big introduction, but I think it'd be great if you want to do it yourself a little bit. Kind of let us know who you are, when you started, and the shows that you've done, and what's your process, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, first off, definitely
it.
appreciate you guys having me on here. So I'm Jordan. I have been training for 10 years now, actually. So I started training when I was 20 years old. I was a skinny kid.
Yeah.
I was the ectomorph, and it's especially hard. I was the 6'4" guy at 127 pounds when I stepped foot in the gym. So a good gust of wind could have taken me away. And I was tired of that. I was tired of being a skinny kid. So I started going to the gym. Obviously, no idea what I was doing. I remember being too afraid to go to the gym by myself. I had 2 friends that I always went with, and I didn't want to step foot in the gym. I had a lot of anxieties, a lot of those typical, everyone's looking at me, everyone's judging me. That all those feelings that you get out when you first start going to the gym and training. But I really had never thought of bodybuilding at all at the age of 20. It never even crossed my mind. And I spent a few years training and putting on some good quality size. And it's funny, I started working in a company, and my boss at the time was a bodybuilder. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Roger McGrath, Men's Physique. He's a bit of an OG, but he was my manager for a period of time, and I started asking questions, and I was curious of his process, and I definitely looked up to the guy. And at this point, I'd been training for 3.5, 4 years, and he kind of started shedding a light on bodybuilding and what he did. And the more that he talked about it, the more that I started becoming more interested in it, and I started following it, and I started watching it more, and staying kind of in tune with at that point I was watching Olympia, and I started to really get interested in it and really get excited about it. And he kind of made the suggestion, and I wasn't thinking about this, but he made the suggestion for me to compete. And I doubted myself. I said, no, there's no way. Like
Right.
at this point, I was like 180 pounds, and I put on a good amount of weight over the 3, 4 years, but still like at 6'4", it's still not a lot to me. And I,
Mhm.
obviously I had my doubts, but he convinced me. He talked me into it, and at that point, 2017, Atlantics was on the horizon. So we put the pedal on the gas, and we decided that was the show that I was gonna dip my feet into. And at this point, it was men's physique. And this was before the split, before the CPA split.
Right.
Before Atlantic, this was when Atlantics didn't really. It was more of a fun show. It
Mhm.
wasn't a qualifier, and I had picked that show, so I prepped under Roger for 12 weeks, and I stepped on stage at 173 pounds. And
Oh man, yeah, like over 6. That's crazy. Still.
tiny guy, man, tiny guy. I was lean, but I didn't have a lot to me. I had arms. That was about it.
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah, I could imagine.
and there was at that point there was 12 or 13 guys in my class, and I came dead last. I didn't care. I had a blast. Like I think the most humbling experience for me was being backstage and seeing how warm and inviting everyone was. And I was really, I was 23 years old. I was intimidated by all these guys who had a good 30, 40 pounds on me at least. Like the next closest guy to me there was a pretty big gap in weight and size. They all took me in, and the energy and the atmosphere backstage was something that I'll remember to this day. It was extremely inviting, and it definitely made me feel at ease backstage, because I didn't know what to expect. But like I said, I came dead last, and I didn't care. It was about the experience for me, and it was my first show. And at that point, I was hooked. At that point, I
Yeah.
was full in. And I say that, but it wouldn't be till 5 years later that I step on stage again. I actually
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that because I
yeah.
knew it wasn't until a little bit later on, like, but
Yeah, I took a good amount of time off, and I I at that point it was Pete Kennedy who I hired as my coach, actually. And because I'd worked with Pete at Future Shop, so I knew him well.
oh cool.
And him and I actually we were prepping for ECC that same year, which I prepped for a good amount of time, and we put on some size, but inevitably I backed out for, there was a lot of life circumstances, and I also decided that I wanted to grow and bring a better package the next time, like, I stepped on stage, and I didn't feel like I had enough time and enough of an off season to do so. And I sort of took that literally, because I took a 5 year off season at that
Yeah,
point.
I know, right?
So in that 5 years, a lot happened. I continued to train. There was periods of times where I didn't train, especially during the pandemic. It was challenging.
Hmm.
I went out and I purchased some dumbbells, and a bench. And I think I worked out at home 2 or 3 times. I kind of took my foot off the gas, and it was definitely challenging during that period of time. But I had still had a lot of years of training under my belt. And at this point, I think at my best, before I hired my current coach, I had made it up to about 215 pounds from my
Whoa,
humble
that's
beginnings of
huge.
137 pounds. So I'd
Yeah.
put a lot of size on, and I was always really lean. I never got fluffy. I stayed lean, because eating was a challenge for me always. And being an ectomorph and a tall guy, you guys can only imagine my metabolism is
It's probably, yeah, it's probably
that of a
insane.
racehorse. Yeah,
I think mine is really good. Imagine yours is just twice as crazy.
yeah, it's a lot. So, and it was a big learning curve. So in 20 August 2021 is when I reached out to Rowan Humble, my current coach, and that was when I decided that I wanted to compete again. I didn't know what division. I didn't know if it was men's physique. I didn't know if it was classic. At that point, I was interested in classic. I didn't really have much in the way of legs. And Rowan, took me under his wing, and he
Hold on a sec.
completely changed.
Back up. You didn't have much in the way of legs.
No, I didn't.
Your legs are
Surprising enough,
gigantic.
Well, yeah,
Like we're gonna pop up
they
some
don't
pictures.
just.
Yeah, we're gonna pop up some pictures of you here in a little bit. Like, so if Andy can see, like, if you
Yeah,
didn't
I don't
have
know.
right, if you didn't have
Yeah,
the
it was.
legs, like, where'd the hell did
I
that
guess
come from?
hyper responder, and I took the leg training very seriously with Rowan, and that was something that he took very seriously as well. And I think the biggest shock, when I started training under him, is how much I was doing in the gym, like wasteful and useless volume, and beating
Right.
myself
Mhm.
up for year after year after year. And I was always sore. I was always injured. I was never recovering, and I wasn't growing. So two things changed. Is he he effectively doubled my calories, I'd say,
Good. Yeah.
and he reduced my training volume. So I'd be in the gym and I'd be done, and I'm thinking like every bit of my being, every fiber of my mind wanted to keep going and train more because I wasn't used to doing
It's just
less.
what you're used to.
Mhm.
Exactly, and I just, to be honest, I blew up. So in that first year of training with him, he took me from 218 pounds to 250 pounds.
Wow.
250. Oh, okay.
So we got up to 250 in my first off season with him, and we did it. So we ended up doing it
Right, there you
Atlantics
are.
20. Yeah, that was
Woo,
this
look
year.
at
That
that
was
guy. Holy smokes.
See?
yeah. That
Yeah.
was that was Halifax.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Not
Wow.
not much in the work for legs. No.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Oh,
Easy, Jordan.
Man,
What'd you
what?
do, bro? You must have. I
Honestly,
mean, really.
the leg training philosophy was ass to grass, slow the
Yeah.
tempo down, screw the weight, and train to failure. I
right.
preach it. That's what it's all about.
Right. There it is.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice work. Holy smokes.
So we'll go through
So
that
we ended up doing
in a little bit.
we, we ended up doing Atlantics 2022. That was my first show with Rowan, and I I was the only guy in my height class in classic. So it wasn't that wasn't a very fun experience for me going up there and you're the only one. So it's, I could have gone up there and done the YMCA and gotten my trophy, but
Right. Yeah. Went up there and
what
pretty much
was
did
fun
whatever.
though is yeah,
But
yeah,
when
exactly.
there's a lot of other tall guys out there, but you were the one that, decided to do it, right? You still beat
Hmm.
everybody out there
Exactly.
that just didn't do it. That's how I like to say when you're the only one on stage, you've beaten everybody in the audience because none of them are up there. None of them could do what you did. So you're there and be proud of that
I
for
like that
sure.
philosophy.
Yeah.
Right?
That's good.
Like,
That's
yeah,
good.
like no, like pretty much if you're competing, no one in Atlantic Canada stepped on stage with you because they couldn't do what you just did. And then there you go,
I
That's
like
right.
that.
right? I've been on stage alone too, and I tried to figure out how to make myself feel better. That's what happened. That's where I came
I
up
like
with.
that. Yeah.
Right?
Hey,
No one else
Yeah.
could do it, so yeah.
I still had my fair shot at the overall, so it was fun to battle it out in the
Yes.
overall. But
Yes.
we also, I
Hmm.
mean, in 2022 Atlantics, not only did I do classic, but I also did open. And open, I had more fun because I get to step up there with Dana Baker of all guys.
Nice. Yeah.
So it was really fun on stage with him. He's such a great
20
guy,
in
a lot of energy.
2022.
Yeah,
So it was you.
2022 Atlantics.
So it was you
There's
Dana
four
with
of
the
and
us
overall.
Oh,
in open.
yeah.
it was you, me, and Dana
I
at the
remember you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You were
You weren't in
peeled.
my division, but it
well
was
for the
me,
open.
Colin Poole, Jonah, and Dana. Yeah, for
Okay, I'm
open.
thinking of something. Okay,
For
yeah,
heavy. You were there though, Josh. You were just
I
you
was
were
there.
yeah. You went to the overall.
Yeah, I was up there with Dana for that one for the
Yeah,
bodybuilding. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that was a fun experience though. It was definitely it was my first time on stage and actually being put through rounds because they had us up there for a while. I think they put
Yep.
us through
Good.
3 or 4 rounds of mandatories, so we were all sweating and we were all. It was warm at that venue too. It was really
Oh,
warm.
it was
Uh,
so rad.
it was kind of my first taste of sweating my ass off on stage, but it was fun. It was really fun. So that was show 2 for me, and then 3 and 4 were 2023. So after that show, I took actually about a year and a half between shows,
Right.
and I put on a lot of size between that time. So I competed at. It's funny, like I mentioned, I hired Rowan at 215 pounds, and I was kind of skinny fat, and I competed at 215 in Atlantics.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Right.
we put on a lot of tissue. It was a good indication that we put on a lot of tissue, especially in the legs. And then this year I competed at 226. So and I was leaner. I was leaner as well. It was so we put on a lot of size, and it's just a tribute to taking the right amount of time in the off season, right?
Oh
You need
yeah,
to take time to grow.
for sure.
And to this year was definitely this year competing was my first time going, okay, like I can do this. I got a shot at this. Winning the overall at Halifax, winning best poser award, that was really humbling and exciting for
Absolutely.
me. And then even that flex, I didn't take the win, but it was a big class and I took second and they had us up there for a while. So I was really happy with my second place finish because there was a lot of really rock solid guys up there and any one of those guys could have placed on the national stage.
Oh,
And that
definitely.
was definitely
Sure.
exciting
Including
for me.
yourself,
So
right? So yeah,
4 shows in.
yeah. Oh, I hate
That's
you.
incredible.
Yeah.
You look nuts. That's great.
Yeah.
What are you weighing now?
We're so right now I'm about 245.
Okay. Is this like
And
full blown
so
off season for you right now, or are you starting to cut back in again?
no, we're kind of slowly ramping things up.
Okay.
Um, bit of a health phase right now, and then we're going to be doing a push here soon.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
nice to hear.
Yeah, that's incredible growth that you put on that much weight in that much time, man. That's amazing.
It is.
Rare.
It
It's rare to
is.
see.
Yeah, it is.
It was it was funny too because it was so much growth in the quads too, and I was a guy who never understood leg training, and I was the guy who skipped leg day. Like that was me.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, really?
I was
So people that are listening, we have people all over the East Coast and across the world. We have people in multiple countries that watch this for some weird reason. I don't know, but thanks. We really appreciate it. So everyone that's watching, I know that right now they're going to be like, "How the hell did you do this?" Um, you said you pushed some food. Sure, training was a different, but like, what's pushing food? What did you do in training like that took you from this little guy to the monster that you are now? Like, what would you say some of the biggest um, things that contributed to your growth? And if someone that is in your position now, that was say back when you were like, couple like when you were over like 100 and some pounds to 200 now, like what were the biggest things that got you there? And what are some people, what are they going to have to do to get there as well?
I'd say first and foremost, you know, training and eating those are the pillars of bodybuilding. Well, that's kind of the foundation of everything that we have and everything that we do. It's one thing to step on stage and get spray tanned and do some poses and get
Yeah.
judged. It's another thing to understand what goes behind that. And for me, my biggest hurdle trying to put on size is I convinced myself for so long that I ate a lot. I thought I did. And I hear this to this day, especially younger guys who are like, no, 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 like I eat so much that I just can't gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand more than anyone. There's obviously there can be other variables that play there, but for your average, your average individual who's trying to gain weight and they're having a hard time, typically they're not eating enough.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand what eating was, even up until 2.5 years ago is when I really got my first taste of what it's like to be uncomfortable in the off season. And that's probably the
Pretty
best.
bad.
It's probably the best word to put it is you have to eat to the point of discomfort and
Yeah.
then continue eating.
Yeah.
And I can remember nights, 12 in the morning, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I'm like, I got 2 meals left, and I'm there hurled over the edge of the bed, trying to shove my face. And there were points I'd take laps around the neighborhood. I have to get steps in to like I'd be walking
Just so
around
you
the
could
house
eat.
or like take a stroll around the block while I'm like eating my food just to get the food in, because it is eating to the point of discomfort. And until you do that, as much as you train in the gym, it's definitely challenging to put on the appropriate size that you're looking for. And apart from that, understanding how to train, I always say, if you look at an individual and you see a weakness, you can typically draw that back to a lack of understanding with how to train that muscle group, or maybe they're not
Mhm.
connecting with that muscle. Like
Mm-hmm.
usually you can draw that line and say, okay, there's something happening in the gym with the way they're training, how they're training, or how they're going about their training that's resulting in that. And I got really, really focused and hyper focused, especially with my quad training, on connecting with the movements and understanding how to train that. And that's one thing that Rowan tries to instill in myself and all of his clients is form over weight and understanding how to train muscle groups and understanding how to connect with that muscle. And I applied that to everything. I went to the gym every single day with the mindset of I need to get better at this movement. And I think the biggest mental hurdle for me was understanding that it didn't matter what weight I was putting on the bar, how much weight I was loading on the stock. None of that mattered. The
Right.
muscle
Yeah.
doesn't
The
know the
important
number.
stuff.
The muscle doesn't know what number that is. All the muscle knows is what you're feeling. And
Mhm.
I obsessed over connecting with my movements. I obsessed over feeling it. And I'm a guy, like, a 6'4" guy, got a long wingspan. I had a hard time connecting, and still do, connecting with my chest training. And every time I go to the gym, it's a new opportunity for me to get better and
Mm-hmm.
feel it and connect. And I applied that to all of my movements every day of the week, making sure that I got good at training. Like, that's what we do as bodybuilders. We are in the gym to get really good at our
Yeah.
movements. We pick our movements that work for us. We pick our movements that feel good for us, and we get really good at doing them. For me, it was that. It was eating and understanding how to train.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Def. Oh shit.
We
Sorry.
lost you, John.
Yeah.
There you go.
Actually,
There we go. Yeah. New
Back.
camera. It's a little touchy. But no. Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's.
I would definitely agree with you that the food is definitely the thing that separates a lot of guys for sure, and the training. But I've seen guys in the gym that have been training half their lives, and I mean they're doing everything everybody else is doing, maybe more of it too, and they just don't change. They never get the size, and I think that's
Mm.
what it is. They're just not. Anybody can perform when you've got an audience at the gym, but when you're at home and you got to eat the chicken breast and the rice and the whatever, you got to do that 6, 7 times a day.
Yeah.
People aren't doing it. And that's what it
Day
really
in,
takes.
day
You
out.
got to do it every single day.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what it takes.
But I always say the training is the easy part. Step in the gym.
That's the fun
Anybody
part.
that asks me, like, how do you get the motivation, or the discipline, or the drive to do that? And it's like, getting to the gym is the easy part. The hard part is what happens the other 90% of the day. There's so many factors
Mhm.
and pillars,
Yep.
getting enough
Yeah.
sleep, getting enough water, making sure that our stress factors are low, making sure that our life is in control, and things aren't impacting. Is like the physiological impact of stress is so huge, and especially in this realm and what we do, every minute detail is so important. So making sure that everything else outside of the gym is on point is definitely the harder, between training and everything else. So nailing your food, that's what worked it for me. That's what did it for me, was making sure I was stuffing my face on a daily basis.
Yeah. And
Yeah, it shows, man. It's unbelievable. That's a really good, even with good genetics, that's still incredible, man. Like that's a
It
really good
is.
game.
right. So that's just even like people say you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent in the gym. You got to train. You got to work hard, and that falls right into being consistent with eating, not missing your meals. Or if you miss a meal, you got to make up for it somehow, right? You can't just be
Hmm.
Yeah,
like, oh well, I'll eat better tomorrow. I'll get all my meals in tomorrow. You got to figure out how to add something or throw more stuff into one meal if you do miss a meal.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
that other meal, it's kind of like a punishment. That other meal gets a little bit bigger,
I'm having
Yeah.
flashbacks right now
right?
to having to slam back 800 grams of rice and 300 grams of chicken in one meal or something.
You're like, oh my
Oh,
god.
no,
It's what you
blender.
get for missing a meal, right? You just got to kind of, it
Blender.
just
Ah.
piles up into the end of the night, and you're just like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
But like,
Meal timing is so important. Starting your day sooner rather than later. And I've been
yeah,
guilty of that,
Mhm.
not starting your first meal until 11 a.m. and you're going to have a bad night.
yeah.
It's not going to be a
Oh,
great day.
yeah.
I find
You
tends to
start
happen on
piling
my
up as
days
the day
off,
goes.
right? Like
Yeah.
days off when I'm not working or I'm not training, I sleep in a little bit, and then everything is just shot. And then
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you always are playing catch up with the food, and it's not great, but
Yeah.
uh,
You get it done.
yeah, gotta get it done.
You have to.
So during,
No choice.
so during this period when you were putting on all this weight, were you out partying on the weekends and stuff like that? How did you keep that under control? You're a
No,
young guy.
I live a very modest life. All through my 20s, I was never the guy out drinking or partying. And I'm 30 now, and I still don't do that. Like I drink maybe once, twice a year, and I might have a couple drinks. And that's kind of the lifestyle that
For you.
worked for me. I never enjoyed the party scene. I never got out and got absolutely blackout. It wasn't my cup of tea. And I found passion in a lot of other things in my life. And like I said, I'm a modest guy, and I'm a simple guy, and I wasn't about that lifestyle. And there's definitely a lot of people that that can find that balance with having a few drinks every now and then, or having a few drinks on the weekend, and being a bodybuilder. But I'll always say that I'm a hard believer. These partying and drinking, they don't go hand in hand with the sport. They
No,
just
not
don't.
at
Mhm.
all. I've known people
It
try
doesn't
it
work.
and they're just never like successful. They never get to where they want to be, right? There's
Yeah.
always it's yeah, it just doesn't really mix well for recovery when you're really
No,
coming into
you're
it
off.
or being able to push at the gym when you're like
When you're
out
hungover for
drinking.
2 days, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
big thing
The
to set you
impact
back
and
every time.
exactly the impact in training and performance for several days after is just not worth it for me. The trade off's not there.
No.
Plus, I'm a
Especially
heavyweight
with the
at
bike
this
too.
point. The amount I
Yeah,
have to drink to feel anything, it's just
yeah.
not worth it.
No,
It's
no,
too
Yeah.
expensive,
no.
man. It's too expensive.
Yeah.
So Jordan, in your upcoming off season, what's your kind of your max goal weight? Do you think you're 245 right now?
I'm
What are you looking to go to?
245 right now, and still like we're holding pretty lean. It's a good 245. We'd like to push 265, 270, but that might be a little overzealous. But yeah,
Oh, that'd be
260 plus 265 was sort of the number that I had in mind. It's funny. I always compare myself to Dylan Burse. He's a guy that he's kind of the gold standard for tall classic, especially from the Maritimes.
oh
And
yeah.
he
Mhm.
walks around. He walks around in his 260s and 270s, and definitely looking at that guy, trying to play catch up a little bit. So that's kind of the goal for me at this point, especially when we start pushing food. And my food's pretty moderate at the moment. I'm not starving, and I'm not full. I'm kind of just right in
Mhm.
between. Um, I know my last off season, I got up to 6,400 is what I was eating at the most,
Oh.
which was a slog. a lot of
I
a lot
think
of
every
A
coffee.
time I
lot.
come to FX, you're either training or eating, right? So you're just like you're
Yeah,
sitting in the main entranceway with like you just look miserable and you're just like, oh yeah. I
yeah,
remember
yeah,
I walked in and you're eating. I'm like, what's up? And you're like just eating before legs. I'm
yeah.
like I'm like unbelievable. I was like I couldn't do it.
Oh
No, I'm
no, I
bad for
couldn't
that,
either.
man. I'm bad for that. Trying to stuff food and go train legs. Yeah, have
Oh,
fun.
Oh,
Have fun.
couldn't do it.
Ugh.
oh, I can throw up.
You keep a
Yeah, be
puke
coming back
bucket
out.
beside you. Just bring a puke bucket along with you everywhere you
Yeah.
go. And
Listen,
Yeah.
I'm
you
sure it's
just
happened to all of us.
oh
Brutal
yeah.
leg day with too much food in the system. You're going to take a few trips to the bathroom.
Then
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, I gotta make up for that. I gotta eat that again.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gains you've lost into the toilet.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
So what's your calories running there now?
We're just shy of
Just under.
5,000 right now.
So
Still,
what is a typical
that's
meal
up
right
high
now for
too.
you?
You know what? I think it's funny. Bodybuilding has served me in a lot of aspects. Just apart from stepping on stage and getting some cool shots and stuff, there's the routine and habit of it, especially with the eating aspect. I need that. Like, for me, the thought of just waking up and not knowing what my next meal is and just kind of freelancing it, that stresses me out. Like,
Yeah.
I need to know like what each meal is every single day, and I eat the same 6 meals every day, and it's simple. I've obviously got my chicken and rice. That's a
Yeah.
staple.
It's still. I don't think that will ever go away.
No.
Chicken and rice twice a day. I mean, I've got 3 rice meals right now that are all at 400 grams. So a
Ooh,
good amount of rice.
Yeah.
It's a good amount of rice. Eggs, bagels, and turkey bacon for breakfast. I got some oats. I typically do the oats in a shake with some protein powder and cereal. Cereal is the magic key in the off season, right
What
before bed.
kind?
what kind of cereal?
What kind? See for the see
What
for
is
the
now,
it?
same.
right now, I'm keeping it simple, just Rice Krispies.
Okay. No.
Um,
Oh,
but I do go. I'll do like
Come on, man.
I'll do the cinnamon toast crunch or the Reese's Puffs.
Yes.
I'll do them soon.
there you go.
Yeah, yeah,
The big Costco
yeah,
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. And then
Yeah.
depending on what protein powder you mix it with, you can do a lot of cool flavors. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I always pound the cinnamon toast crunch back post workout.
yeah,
No.
it's easy. Fast digesting. It's a quick meal. That's why I do it before bed.
Yeah, that too. Oh, interesting. So you're doing your quick, fast digesting meal before bed, not something slower like oatmeal.
I think I canceled it out though because I end up usually most nights by 8 p.m. I still have 3 meals left. So,
Okay, fair enough.
like, good example tonight, I still have 2 400 grams of rice meals with chicken and beef and cereal. So I've got a good amount of food left after I after I finish up
So
here.
for people that are watching, it is like 8:39 right now at night.
Yeah,
Shit.
It's gonna be a late night.
Yeah.
it's funny. Rowan's my roommate. I hope he didn't hear that.
Awesome. Yeah, he's got to come on eventually sometime too. But yeah, and let's get into some viewer questions. While I bring those up, I love to always ask people. You kind of touched on your very first show experience, but I want to get a little bit more into it. Like someone, all the shows are starting to come up this year. Like we're heading into 2024, and the shows are just getting happening. It's just starting. So we got a lot of new people coming in, and what are they gonna expect? And any tips that you would say or give someone that's going to be stepping on stage for the first time?
Hire a coach first and
100%.
foremost.
Yeah.
Yeah, hire a coach and let that individual guide you through the process and work on your posing. I got to say it. I got to add that in there. Hire a posing coach. Especially being a posing coach myself, I can't. It's really important to be able to get up there and present your physique properly
Hmm.
because especially it being your first show. I think we've
Yep.
all seen it. You can pose yourself out of a top spot and you can pose yourself into a top spot, regardless of your physique and your size and your shape and your density, regardless of all of the aesthetic features. That it's posing can do a lot for you on stage. So understanding how to do that and put time into it. Invest time into posing. Um,
Cool. I got a couple questions about posing, so perfect segue into it. Nice work. Um, first, I guess first one from a different Jamie is where did it go? What are some of the issues you see when teaching posing to new people, and what are some of the things that are or what are some common things you see that you need to correct in veteran posing, people that pose? So new biggest issues in new people, and I guess other issues in people that have been doing it for a while.
So I'd say I'd say biggest issue I see with anybody starting out in posing and bodybuilding, and for this was an issue for me as well, is understanding how to flare your lats. That's probably the
That's
hardest thing to
It
teach.
freaking
is.
hardest thing, man. Yeah.
And I struggled with it. I
Some just can't
remember,
get it.
yeah, I remember starting and it was all traps and shoulders, and I didn't understand how to bring the shoulders down and bring the lats out, and that can be probably, it definitely is the most challenging thing to teach, because there's a lot of parallels with their training as well. Like if I find an individual who has a hard time flaring their lats, it's usually the case they have a hard time feeling and connecting with their lats in their movements. And I'll usually teach that as well, as okay, like, I want to make sure that in the gym on your back days you're connecting with your lat training, and then showing them how to, because that does wonders for their ability to flare and feel their lats in their
Oh,
posing.
definitely.
So I definitely say flaring lats, bringing your lats out,
Yeah.
without getting too much shoulder and trap involved. And for the veterans, honestly, like over time, especially if it's an individual who hasn't invested a lot of time with someone critiquing their posing, or some people can get stuck in their ways, and some people think something looks good for them, and it might not necessarily be the best way to present that package. So sometimes it's more of a mental piece for those individuals. So breaking those barriers, and getting them to be objective about their own physiques, getting
Yeah,
them
I
to
think
understand.
that's a good point. I like that
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
yeah.
To actually be able to look at yourself and critique it, and not be like, "Oh,
Critique it
I'm I'm
and take
I'm good.
feedback.
I don't need to change anything." Right?
Take the feedback, and try. If you're a veteran competitor and I suggest something, like, I could be wrong. Until we see it, I could be wrong. Maybe what you're doing is better, but being able to try different things, and you know
Right.
nuance certain poses to small degrees. A lot of those things can make a big difference on stage. So just having the open mindedness to do so, I think that's typically what you would see with someone who's a little bit more veteran.
Yeah. Fair enough. I know
Yeah.
lats are just unbelievably hard to pose. Like you're saying, it's took me a long, long time. Right. I've competed for many years not knowing how to do it. I still did really
Yep.
well. I still faked my way through it, but is just recently in the past like probably 4 years I kind of figured it out. But I remember, I remember my wife can flare her lats like nobody's business, and it's impressive. She could block out the sun. It's crazy. But I remember like we were like showering together, and I was like washing her back, and I was like, "Let me get your back." She's like, "Okay," and I was like, "Holy fuck!" I was like, "How did you do that?" She's like, "Do that," and then she starts like popping one out at a time, and I'm just like blown away because I can't do
At
that,
that
and I'm
point,
like,
you show it off.
"Yeah," I like I can't do that, and I do this for like a profession almost. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I thought everyone could do this." I'm like, "No, no."
No.
And I was like, "Oh my god!" And she doesn't even know what she's doing. So I was like, "Explain. How do you do that?" And she's had no idea, right? So it's really even like almost explaining to pose a proper muscle is almost like explaining a color in some ways to some people. It's like
Yeah.
just do it, and you're
Just
like,
do this.
Yeah, just do it.
but it's not like it's really not like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like a lot of different techniques for posing your lats and other muscles that you try to incorporate into the final product, right? Like
Absolutely.
when you're looking at posing like your lats, say if someone's having trouble, what would be the first thing that you would suggest to someone to do?
Do less. That's usually the number one thing. The second, people are trying to engage their lats and they're not used to it. Usually, these are individuals that struggle with dominant shoulders. So their shoulders are rotated inwards, and they have a hard time staying out of their traps. So typically, I'll get an individual to quite literally do less. And there's a breathing technique I use. So I say, stand there, relax your shoulders, relax your traps. All I want you to do is breathe air, expand your rib cage, breathe air into your chest, and almost like you're inflating a balloon, you're going to feel your lats pop out just by breathing air as you're standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And wherever your arms land, that's where I want you to stay. That's your front relaxed right there. Don't try to force it. The second that I do this, I've added nothing more to my lats. All I've done is tense my shoulders and my traps. It comes down to breathing in a lot of cases and understanding that typically people are doing too much with their posing when they start off.
Right. Do you find people when they're posing are even like flexing too hard? I
Yeah,
find that people are over posing and over squeezing
yeah.
and really getting
I use the 70% rule. So typically people are flexing at about 120%. I want them flexing at 70%. Especially as the further out they are, they're typically overcompensating for the lack of detail at that point because they've got a higher body fat percentage.
right.
So the closer they get to the show, the less they're flexing because they realize, oh, I can just stand here and I look ripped. I don't have to squeeze as hard. I don't have to do as much. But typically, yeah, it's 70%. Pose at 70%. The difference between this and this is nothing. There's no difference
Right.
for you at all.
I like it. Good.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it. Um,
A little information on the lat thing there. I got this from Amy. Actually, she's the one that told me this, and it works
sure.
really good. Is pretend like you're carrying two heavy garbage bags, one on each arm. If someone has no clue how to get their lats out, just tell them to pretend like they're carrying two heavy garbage bags in each arm.
I
Now pull
like
them out.
that. I like that a
Yep,
lot.
yep.
That's good.
It'd
Yeah,
be like grocery bags for bodybuilders, though.
Grocery
there you
bags,
go.
bodybuilders. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Um, where does all of your training? Someone wants to know where all of your training knowledge comes from. Did you is there a course that has to be? Do people take courses? Do people do like seminars? Where does all of your wisdom come from?
I took no courses. All of my wisdom comes. It's an amalgamation and a combination of everybody that's coached me over the years, anybody that's been a mentor, anybody I've trained with, and then obviously the hours I've spent watching training videos,
Right.
scouring the internet, reading. Um, I have to say though, I definitely hand a big portion of my training knowledge now to Rowan, my coach. Um, it's something that like I mentioned, he instills in all his athletes the ability to understand the fundamentals of training and understand how to connect with your movements. So everything I know at the level that I do now is I definitely attribute to him and
That's
everything that he's taught me through the years.
well, oh, that's so nice. That's great. But that's great though. Like deserves the praise because he's done a good job with you for sure.
Oh yeah.
Um, all right. So let's see. Amy wants to know what is one of the proudest moments um, in the sport. What is one of your proudest moments in the sport and in life? To them.
Wow, proudest in sports, and well, in the sport, it was definitely taking the overall at Halifax, um, and the best poser award. That was
That's pretty cool.
really it was really exciting for me. I remember being backstage uh, after winning the overall, hugging Rowan.
Yeah.
I believe I believe I had tears in my eyes, and he did too. It was a whole moment, and then someone yells, "Jordan, you're back on!" And I look around, I'm like, "What are they talking about? What do you mean I'm back on?" And they said, "The Poser Award. They're giving it to you." And I was like, "What?" I
Like,
had no
oh,
idea.
even
So
more
yeah,
tears.
gotta collect myself here. Yeah, I went back out, got that, which is really, especially being a posing coach to be able to win that. That was definitely it was really exciting for me. So I definitely enjoyed that. And proudest moments in life. Geez, that's a deep question.
Yeah, that,
um, proudest moment in life. I'd have to say landing the career I have now
ooh, nice.
was a big moment for me for a lot of reasons. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a territory manager for Rogers. So my job is training and development for reps and managers in third-party Rogers locations, so being like Best Buys, Walmart's, Superstores, Costco's, any third-party store that sells Rogers. I'm there training them on our product and making sure they understand our product.
Cool.
And
That's huge.
one of
Yeah.
it's for a long time. It was a job I had wanted for probably over 10 years since I had started my working life in the retail space, specifically telecom. It was definitely a sought after position. So when when it finally became available, and these jobs don't come open very often, I put everything into getting it. And when I got the job, it was a big moment because of specifically, the job itself is great, but the work life balance is what comes along with it. This job allows me to do what I do outside of my work life, and I got to hand it to everybody out there that works 12-hour shifts a day doing
Yeah.
something labor intensive like construction or whatever the case may be. Those guys and then they still make it to the gym and they still get all their meals in and they're still bodybuilding. That's a lot of work because I'm very blessed with the ability to make my own schedule, to train when I want for the most part, to eat when I want for the most part,
That's
and have
great.
a very incredible work life balance, and make great money doing so. So it definitely supports my bodybuilding habits. So definitely a proud moment for me when I was able to lock down that job.
Good for you, man. Congratulations.
Awesome.
I
So
thought
Awesome.
you were
when
going
you
to
walk into
mention.
Best Buy to teach them about their products, do they go, "Oh shit, what's this guy?"
It's
Yeah,
like,
I hear it all, man.
You must be absolutely terrifying to the average Joe.
I've been told that. Yeah, I've been told that. Intimidating. And then they get to know me, and I wouldn't hurt a fly.
Yeah.
right. Oh, that's funny. That's great. I just thought you were going to say, like, proudest moment is like landing your hot girlfriend, but hey, whatever.
Whatever floats your
Nope,
boat.
not going to mention her. That's
uh,
fine.
she's gonna get really mad at you that I didn't say that now. Really, really mad at me. Sorry, not mad at you.
It is what it is.
Oops.
um,
That's a me.
if a statue was built of you, all of you guys, uh, like a gold, like an Arnold statue, where would you want it placed and why?
That's a great question. Is it bad to say like inside or directly outside of Fitness FX? Like I have to. Come on.
People have to walk around it. It's like right in front
Yeah,
of the
like
door.
I'm right there. Like they have no choice but to acknowledge it when they walk in
To ignore.
That'd be fun.
the gym. Yeah.
That's real. I don't think you get a
Come
better
on.
answer than that.
The
No,
gym made me, right? That's my stomping ground, so I had to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
hmm.
Right on my front lawn, baby. That's where I'd put it. Right on my front
There
lawn.
you
So
go.
all my neighbors that hate me can just see me gleaming at them every day.
Yeah.
You'd be out there polishing it and like
Oh
every
yeah.
day wiping
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah.
I would just be real humble and put it right here,
You just gotta put it next to all the other ones that look like you.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm noticing all the trophies back there, Jamie.
Yeah, that's just because I competed a lot of
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
Like,
lot of
oh,
them are
show Jordan
participation.
your. Can you show Jordan like the good trophies that they used to give out? You can see those
There's
things.
one
It's
right
like 5 feet tall.
Uh, those things are massive. Oh my gosh.
Like those are
over in the
like,
corner.
come
Yeah,
on, where are those
Yeah.
now? We just
Yeah.
yeah, I know. Yeah, that one there, right there, is about 3.5 feet. I think it is that one over in the corner. What I
Jeez.
do
yeah.
there?
So yeah, you're talking to a couple legends right here. Not me. I don't include myself with
Well,
Uh, don't be so modest.
that.
you should.
But
And legends are in our own minds, maybe.
right, yeah. I just
Yeah.
think I
That's
call
about it.
myself that in
Yeah,
private.
that's perfect. I love it.
Oh, let's see. What would be Someone wants to know about training hamstrings. Good question for you. What would be one of the most common mistakes you see people training their hamstrings?
Not doing hinge movements like RDLs or stiff legs.
Those are
So
my
not
favorite.
including those in,
Why aren't people
yeah,
doing that? Because it's hard.
not including those in your split because they're hard. Exactly.
Yeah.
Understanding
Yeah.
the hamstrings are they respond well to lengthened range of motion. So stretching them and lengthen them out in any, like I said, Romanian deadlift or stiff leg deadlift. And typically, people starting off with those movements, there's too much lumbar flexion, there's too much lower back being involved, the knees are bending, whatever the case may be. And typically, people are going too heavy. The load is
Yeah,
too
that's a
high.
big one. Then
Yeah, the
they lose the
hamstrings,
connection, right? Usually.
they lose the connection in the hamstrings, exactly.
Yeah.
So understanding that balance between picking an adequate amount of weight, where we don't lose the tension off the hamstrings. And I'm telling you, I didn't do RDLs or stiff leg deadlifts until Rowan took care of my programming. I never touched those, and definitely the most noticeable results came from those being a part of my programming.
Was there a steep learning curve for those? Because I mean, hamstrings are one of those things that are just it's my weakness too. And like the stiff-legged deadlifts, I mean, that's something where I can only do 25 pound on each side kind of thing. Did you find that you had to start really, really low and you worked your way up pretty quick with the weight?
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, the biggest part of it is form, right? Like it's so there's such a tipping point between I hinge too far back and my knees start to translate backwards, and now I've gotten too much glute involved, or I don't hinge enough, and my lumbar starts rounding and my glutes stop translating backwards. That means that I'm using too much lower back. So finding that balance between both of those and kind of staying in the pocket, but also slowing the movement down. And that was probably the biggest thing that I had to change is you see a lot of people, they'll grab typically something too heavy and they'll just kind of like explode downwards. They'll just let their upper body fall forward, and then
Mm-hmm.
they'll just
Hmm.
explode upwards. And all they're doing is usually using momentum to get back up, but it's just lower back. It's just their lower back taking over. So when I say slow the movement down, like typically on an RDL pattern for myself, I'm doing 3 to 5 second eccentrics. And there's a point of diminishing return as well. So not going too far. The second that your glutes stop translating backwards,
Yep.
you're not doing hamstrings anymore. You're not lengthening the hamstrings anymore. It's just your back takes over. So understanding that balance, understanding the form, and slowing it down. Just slow the movement down.
Yep. I find a lot of people tend to really come up too high, and then yeah, then
Yeah,
you just lose the tension on the hamstrings.
yeah, yeah,
That seems to be my biggest concern when I try to help people or with that or people have questions. It's usually they're
yeah,
too high, too fast. But
yeah.
Andy, I'm surprised you have nice legs. What's going on there?
That's just luck. I don't know. I barely train them.
I don't know. I don't know.
Great
I
genetics.
don't know.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Let's see. I like this one. Made me laugh. Do you wear a fanny pack in the gym? And if so, what's in it?
I know a lot of people that wear fanny packs, and I roast them constantly for it. I do not wear one. I don't.
There's
I don't
such
think
a
I could bring
bad
myself.
stigma of people wearing fanny packs and selling like steroids to kids in the gym, right? You're like,
Oh
hey,
yeah, it's
like just like you want, right? Just like here's a D ball before your set. Come on,
yeah,
right,
yeah. Need some tests? Here you go. I'll hook you up. No
right.
fanny pack for me.
All right,
No
good.
fanny, but I know lots of people who wear them, and they're very proud of their fanny packs. So,
Very proud of them. All right, if you were to wear a fanny pack, what would you keep in it?
oh,
Steroids.
geez, probably the yeah, steroids, obviously.
Like,
It's like, what else are you putting in there? Probably the headphones I never use.
right.
I'm, I'm a bit of a psychopath. I don't wear headphones for the. I start wearing headphones at about 10 weeks out. when I stop wanting to talk to people.
Yeah.
That's pretty much why I wear headphones in the gym. Apart from that, but probably the headphones I don't wear. Maybe some EAAs or BCAAs or something quick if I need to add
Right.
stuff to
Yeah.
my drink.
That's okay.
Some candy, some Sour
Yeah.
Patch Kids.
Gummy bears and Sour Patch Kids. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Andy, Jamie, what would you keep in your fanny packs?
Chocolate bar,
Oh,
There you go.
nice. What kind?
Yeah.
Snickers.
I know the way Jamie trains, he'd come out all melted and shit and be all over his fingers.
Yeah.
I'd make sure it didn't before I got to eat it.
Chocolate
Chocolate bar
all
right
over
now
the
would be all right too.
dumbbells. Fuck's sakes.
Mm.
Yeah. I think I would need some Advil. That's about it. At my age,
Advil?
yeah, you carry around the
Advil?
Advil.
Yeah,
Maybe some Tylenol.
Yeah. I was gonna go with the quick like the EAAs or some cinnamon toast crunch, some loose cinnamon toast crunch in
Ooh,
there.
just
You know,
yeah,
just loose in the
that's a good
fanny
idea.
pack.
just loose, just grabbing it.
Yeah, just
Fuck
treats.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
Yeah.
nothing like a mid-workout per chocolate bar, boys. Like, really.
yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I had that in my brain.
Maybe some
As
insulin. I don't
soon
know.
as you asked that question, that's the first thing went in my brain. Snickers bar.
Yeah, nice.
I'm
Nice.
dieting too, right? I'm 3 weeks in, so
Yeah.
I kind of maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I went
the
in.
crave the cravings are kicking in.
Starting. Yeah.
All right. Here's a serious one. Serious one, guys. Sex before or after training?
After
Oh, 100% after.
Both.
you do it before, you're not
Both.
training. You're going to bed. You're taking a nap. Like that's
Yeah,
there goes all your
Oh,
drive.
definitely.
I'll go with after.
Yeah.
After's good.
It's like, yeah, after for sure.
Bring the wife with you for training too, because that's kind of a little aphrodisiac there too.
Oh, it
You know, you
is.
get
It
her
definitely is.
doing the stiff-legged deadlifts and whatever in front of you.
There you go.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get that.
get
Get
the
that.
It's like, are you doing the stiff-legged deadlifts, Andy? I hope so.
And I'm not doing the no.
No.
Yeah, that's half the problem. I don't do those
Okay,
things.
yeah, definitely after. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you don't want to put the energy, you don't want to get all the energy out first, right? It's a good way
Yeah.
Right.
to finish off the pre-workout.
Yeah, waste your
I
energy in
had
the gym, not in bed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I had somebody wise once tell me to what he does is they get themselves close before training and then they go train.
Oh,
Something about the excitement and something about the elevation just makes their trainings makes their
raises the
split that much
natural
better.
testosterone a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's an idea.
I like it. That is
I
just
like
like
it.
the aggression comes out. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like almost like a little bit of a natural trend. You're just a little bit angry. You just want
Just a little bit angry.
Naturally sourced,
right?
naturally sourced friends.
It's like just a little angry. You just want to get in and get it done.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Training with blue balls.
There you go.
Again, you did an amazing job. So congratulations.
Yes, look fantastic, Jordan. Congratulations.
So
Wow.
Appreciate that, guys.
yeah, so
You're not
congrats on that.
127 pounds
Yeah.
again.
So yeah, just like taking a scroll through the
Yeah, that's a
Instagram.
great. Look at that picture, man. Holy smokes, doing the
Yeah.
Arnold pose there.
This one here with the gray.
The one in the
with
white.
green.
Up one.
Up one, right over there to the
Right
right.
there. Right
This
there.
one.
Right the one you're on. Oh, that one too. Oh shit, they're both good.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man. What a great shot.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it's
Jordan.
probably my that's a pose I'm known for, the 3/4 for sure.
Right.
Mhm.
Is
great.
this your favorite pose?
It is my favorite pose. Yeah.
It's a good one.
So it's a pose I have a lot of people come to me and ask how to do it.
Look at the quads
And-
on him.
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, you're
And there's the
more popular
girlfriend.
than
She's
like
gonna be mad.
there she is.
there you
There
go.
she
Yeah,
is.
there's his ex-girlfriend. Happy
There's
tonight.
There's his
that's
ex-girlfriend.
yeah.
Nice, Andy. That's a
Look
great
at that
shot.
shot, dude. That's incredible.
Like, look at that. That's
Did
wild.
you win the overall? How did you place?
Yeah,
I won the overall at Halifax. Yeah,
Okay,
at
yeah, just
Flex
sort
I
of.
placed. Flex I placed second.
Um, did you find that you looked better at Halifax?
I looked better at Flex.
You looked better in Flex? That's usually the
Yeah,
case. It's always like the second
I
show.
was, I was fuller, and so we learned, and this was a bit of a trial and error. And by the way, having two shows back to back within that period of time is phenomenal because
Oh, it's so good to do.
you have that trial and error process. But I came in a bit flat for Halifax. I could feel it, so we fed me way more for Flex, and it was noticeable. So I came in
Cool.
fuller, and because I was fuller, I was harder looking.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's like,
who got you at the Flex?
what's that?
Who won
Uh,
the Flex?
oh geez, I, it's bad. I can't remember his name right now. He looked great. He was very well rounded in his physique, and honestly, any one of them up there could have taken it. It was the class was very stacked, very competitive, and they had us up there for a while. And they had us. They were moving us around a lot. And you could tell they weren't quite sure.
Was that Morgan McDonald's boy, the guy? Jordan?
You're talking about so Austin. Austin, I beat
There
him
we
in the
go.
overall.
Okay.
So we got,
But isn't that Austin there? The Flex?
No,
Who's that guy?
this is Flex.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't know if they'll show the class winners or just the overall winners
Yeah,
here.
he. Oh, okay, the class winner.
we're just going through. This is just on the CPA website.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, there's a lot.
Geez, that was a good show.
It was
Hey, look, everyone peeled.
Yeah,
Oh
a lot of
shit!
guys.
everyone did
Yeah.
great.
a lot of guys doing it.
Yeah, it keeps
It was a
going and
fun
going.
show.
So the Flex show is not happening this year, unfortunately.
No,
They
it's
pulled
not.
it for this year because the attendance was quite low compared to most
This
years.
attendance doesn't look that
Yeah.
low.
Doesn't
Yeah.
know. Looks like there's a
Compared
fair
to
amount of competitors there.
compared to previous
Bulk
years, I
is
think
there.
they were looking at that.
Right. Yeah. So
But Halifax will be held again this year.
and I wanted to give a shout out to Steph. She looked awesome too.
Yeah, look at that.
She
Wow.
did. She did.
Holy smokes!
Yeah. She was
Did
great
she win
too.
that? I can't even remember. That's so
Yeah,
rude.
she did.
Yeah, she did.
She
She
did.
did.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Steph, she killed it this year. She did. I think she did
Yeah, that's.
Halifax and Flex too. So give her a shout out.
Yeah,
She looked fantastic as well.
Hmm.
yeah. She was a beast. That's awesome. Good for
Yeah.
her. She's hilarious.
Oh, she's
She
super
is.
fun.
She,
Crazy
she
energy.
is.
She's so cool. Good for her.
So we're really. Oh, look at that. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
You see. Oh,
Really shows my height there.
right. Yeah.
6,000 calories. Oh,
Right.
What it comes down to.
Awesome.
So if you're eating 5,000 now, kind of maintenance, where are you going to this load? Where are you going up now?
Geez, I wouldn't be surprised if we get up to 7. Like,
Fuck
Like
me.
how? Like
that's nuts. Do
well,
a
at this
day
point,
meeting if you get that high. I want to see it.
I could do that. I could easily do that.
If
At this
you get
point,
to
it's like we
7,000
can't throw in.
calories,
like yeah.
What? What'd you say? What'd
It'll
you say,
be
Andy?
I said, if you get to 7,000 calories, holy moly.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Clean
I want to
food, or
unbelievable.
feel
are you doing dirty stuff too?
no. Well, at this point, we can't really add much more. Like, I'm not going to add more volume and rice and stuff. It'll probably be Costco muffins and granola bars. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that's
Yeah.
yeah,
all. That's the stuff we start to throw in, like the calorie dense foods.
yeah.
crazy.
A Big Mac is 500 calories.
There
Just
you
saying.
go.
Yeah,
Just
just
say,
Big
just
Mac,
saying.
Big Macs every day.
One.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine in moderation.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
All right, so
Long as
yeah.
still lean.
Um, all right, so got before we finish up, I think a lot of people weren't expecting us to touch on this stuff, but really important to talk about supplements and PEDs. So, being Bodybuilders Amateur Hour, where we don't want to give any false, hopes to people that are like coming into this game natural and thinking that you're going to be able to achieve hundreds of pounds of excess muscle just by eating, right? That is 90% of it. 100%, like that is 90% of it, don't get me wrong, but 10% of it is the little extra bit that you're going to need to get there, right? Like, again, prioritize eating, sleep, recovery, stress management, consistency. Then once you have all of that, think about PEDs if that is your
Yeah.
goal, right? If you want to get to the next level. So, my question to you, Jordan, is what made you go that way and think about taking that next step?
I I spent my first almost 4 years of training doing it naturally. I and like I mentioned, I was a tiny guy.
Yeah.
Just you guys can just envision, 127 pounds, but at 6'4", like it turned sideways and I disappeared, and it was
All
challenging for
right.
me. And I did those first 4 years naturally. I did my first show naturally. I wanted to see what it was about. I wanted to try it, and I think after doing that show, it was a real eye opener, knowing that every single guy that I was up there with, all of them, were
Oh,
were
yeah,
not
for sure.
natural. They were all taking something, and they were all significantly bigger than me. And at that point, I'd kind of gotten a hunger for doing better in the sport, and you know, this sport is an extreme sport. We can all agree with that.
It
This
is.
is an extreme sport, and
It's
along with
like
it
probably
come
the most when it comes to physical health
yeah, yeah.
and
There's a lot of things
mental
that you have
health
to take
too.
into consideration.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Um, and I think knowing how extreme the sport was, and knowing how passionate I was about it, and knowing that I wanted to take a real crack at it and take it seriously, it was sort of the next step for me at that point. It was my next option to yeah.
There you go.
there's the
What?
comparison.
My.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had to
Holy
pull that
shit.
one up. I was like, oh God. Speaking of,
Is it?
uh,
Yeah.
Holy
that's
shit.
that's your little brother, right, or cousin?
that's me.
Something.
That is me.
Is that your son?
Okay, we want to make sure like supplements and like PEDs did not make this transformation. There was so
Yeah,
much
and I
other
think
stuff
like
went into it, right?
I
So I just
I like to talk about that too. I mean, people ask me this all the time. There is a misconception for the uninformed that you could just take PEDs and suddenly you're CBum,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it doesn't work that way, because I know, you can, if you're not training properly, eating properly, taking care of yourself properly, and understanding every other pillar of this sport, you'll take PEDs and you'll look like a bag of milk, and that's just the
Hmm.
Yeah.
reality of it. There has to be everything else has to be in check, and that's why I say, if you can hold off on this aspect of it for as long as you can, and nail down every other component, nail your training, nail your eating, all the things that you mentioned, the stress management and all the other factors that play into this, the use of PEDs will just excel you that much more when it comes to bodybuilding specifically. And it's one of those things that it's to really perform and do well at a top level in the sport. It's one of those things that, in most cases this comes along with it. PEDs come along with it, and it was the choice I made for myself at the time, and it's the choice I obviously continue to make. And for me, it's it's allowing me to continue in this sport and move in the direction that I'm looking to move.
Cool. Yeah, and also I'm sure you have a lot of people around you, supportive people that are, also care about your health and keeping you in check and make sure you're getting blood work done. Are you, what are precautions are you taking to keeping yourself safe?
Yeah, so I get blood work done about twice a year to make sure that everything is where it should be, and that I've always adopted the philosophy that less is more.
Mm-hmm.
So the least amount you can take to get the most benefit from it.
100%. I agree.
I agree.
I think we all know that with PEDs there can be a point of diminishing return, and more isn't necessarily better.
I think all three of us, this little L
Yeah.
shape here, have
We agree.
experienced the other side of it as well.
Agree. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
we definitely speak from experience and say less is more.
Less is more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a good idea to have somebody that's really knowledgeable. If you're gonna do that, rather than just talking to your buddies or whoever, have somebody in your corner that has a bit of experience with it that's gonna steer you in the right direction too. Because the things I hear sometimes at the gym and what people tell me, the amounts, the level, I'm just so much. You don't need anywhere near that much. So talk to the older guys that have some experience.
Yeah. That's right.
Yep.
Play it safe, kids, and listen to the old bodybuilders. Listen to the old guys in the corners holding their elbows. They're the ones that know what's up.
Right? We've been through it. We've been through it.
When we were your age.
Right? When we were your age.
Yeah.
Boy, let me tell you.
We did the things that you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
All right. So awesome, man. Well, thanks for that. And I hope someone is listening to this and made it all the way and took something from this. You have a lot to give to the community, and we're really, really happy that you're in it and that you are doing what you're doing at Fitness FX. I know a lot of people that come and train there and come pose with you, and I have a buddy of mine that's competing for the first time, and you've changed his posing world tremendously. So just keep rocking it, man. You're killing it, and we're really excited to see what your next show brings us.
See what's coming up. Beast.
Yeah, dude.
The beast.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm really excited as well, and definitely appreciate you guys having me on and letting me share a bit about myself today.
Oh, yeah, we love it.
Yes.
So before we go, I'm going to throw this in the beginning and at the end of the podcast because I always forget to do this. So before we go, remember to like, subscribe, share, and
hit the bell button.
Hit that bell button. All right. And leave a comment too. I don't know what the hell Andy's doing, but you can leave the comment too. Because the more likes and comments we get, the better the algorithm is going to be. So we want to get this out there to as many people as possible and show the East Coast bodybuilders some love. We're killing it out here, and we're just living life and having fun. And thanks, guys. Thanks for coming by for Bodybuilders Amateur Hour. Appreciate it. Thanks, Jordan, Jamie, Andy. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
You guys have a good
night.
Thanks,
Jordan.
And
thanks, guys.
Good luck getting more meals.
Josh, we got to go eat.
I got some food to eat.
God.
7,000 calorie challenge.
I got it. Yeah. You gotta eat too, then.
He's got another 2,000 calories to shove in tonight.
I got some muffins.
Got some work to do.
So I'll go grab.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen.
All right, guys.
See ya later.
Bye.
Peace.